Hey there everybody, what's happening? Whoa, hope you're all doing great out there. I'm sorry to repeat another intro song. I have a couple more recorded. My hand has been hurting really bad, so it's just not quite up to tracking and stuff, so I'm going to kind of keep the playing a little bit more chilled out. But what we're talking about today is, something that so many players lack. And, I guarantee you most players at some point in their life have experienced this. I know I sure have. And it's not meant to be a negative kind of thing. This is just, meant to help. And what I'm talking about here is a lack of confidence in your playing. And there's a lot of stuff you can do to actually help that out. I have a few examples here that you can snag the tabs if you want to. And we're going to dive into this one. If you want to leave a comment, leave some things that helped you with your confidence. And I'm going to tell you some of my experiences. And let's just kind of get to it. One final thing here just to throw in at the beginning is if you are normally subscribed to the channel, make sure you're still subscribed. I've been getting a wave of comments from people saying that they got unsubscribed when they didn't do it. So check that, or if you haven't subscribed yet, maybe you want to subscribe. I don't know. You can come hang out if you want. So let's get it. All right, now the first thing is this one's more geared towards beginner guitar players, to be honest, and that is a lot of times when you go into a store to try out a guitar or something like that, beginners just aren't real confident players yet. Some of them are, and kudos to those guys who will just go in there and wail it out. But a lot of guys, myself included, are not very confident in the ability to play stuff. And like I said, I remember going into guitar stores to try to play guitars, and I was super intimidated, nervous, and just wouldn't play. And what I recommend is if you are going into a guitar store to play, have 2, 3, 4 of your best riffs. Like, make sure you got them down. And honestly, like, prepare like you're almost preparing for a gig. You don't need to go in there and turn the amp on 10 or anything like that. But make sure that you have some stuff that you have, like, mentally, you're in that mindset, like, I'm going to play this at the store. And get ready to play. That way you can truly try out a guitar. Sometimes, like I said, if you get in there and you're real nervous and you're not confident what you're going to play, or you try to, like, wing it, man, when you're a beginner, it's hard to just wing it and play off the cuff. That's something that comes with a lot of time and practice, So make sure that you have those things kind of set aside and well rehearsed. That way you can get in there and you're like, okay, I have a guitar in my hand. I'm gonna play "Smoke on the Water." I'm gonna play "Smells Like Teen Spirit." Whatever it is. Make sure that you have those down and ready to go. Next is a little bit of scales and theory. So what I have here is a couple different ways of playing through a scale, a good old minor pentatonic scale. Now, what I'm talking about this is, I know for me, when I was just starting to play, I didn't understand how people wrote solos. I didn't know how they did any of it. And I'm like, I don't get it. How do they know what notes to play? Like, I was very just kind of like plunky. I'd be like, oh. And eventually I'd find a note that sounded decent. But, for me, once I learned scale, it changed everything. Now, scales are kind of like a little bit of a trap. I've talked about this in other videos, because what happens is you learn a scale, and you end up only playing that scale. Let me turn my delay off. I always forget to do this. One day I'll remember. And you end up always playing it like that. And that's not what I want you to do. So what I have here for you is a couple different examples of things you can play to play the scale and play it differently than just straight through it. Because what happens is if you really want to be confident at using a scale, you need to play it front way, sideways, back, left, every direction you can think of. Play this scale. Because what happens is then you just become comfortable playing on the guitar neck. Like, it's no thing. So the first thing I have here is this one. It looks like this. Okay? Now what's happening is I'm just playing my good old minor pentatonic box, and I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go 7-5 on the A, and 8-5 on the low E. Okay? Now I go up a string, and I go 7-5 on the D, 7-5 on the A. Up another string, 7-5 on the G, 7-5 on the D. Go up again, 8-5 on the B, 7-5 on the G. 8-5 on the high E, 8-5 on the B. Ooh, that hurts. I'm going to use this finger. I'm going to use my pinky hurt. So, like I said, now what I did there is instead of going like this, or some kind of pattern like that, I did them all backwards. And this was something I just recently started doing and learned. So, like I said, there's always opportunities to learn new things. So again, real slow. Missed a note, sorry. Okay, and get to where you can do that. And now do that in all your boxes. So what's happening, for me anyways, I started coming up with new licks because I was like, you know what? I hadn't done that stuff before. So I was like, oh, that's really cool. I was where the notes are falling together, the different intervals are hitting, and so many different things. So like I said, one way of confidence is learning how to play your scales in a lot of different directions, because it just gives your hand a lot of confidence and a lot of freedom on the fingerboard. So that's the first example right there. All right, now next is the ability to play more than one note at the same time. You know, this example is playing 3 individually, or you could play them together, kind of like a chord. You know, well, I mean, technically they are chords, but that's not really how I'm viewing this when I'm playing it. So what I'm talking about is that, you know, a lot of times we play individual notes together, and they're always right beside each other, right in line. And when you do something like this. This is like a chording, you know, technique. You have to be very confident with the entire scale. And like I said, this just is changing things. Even doing like 2-string, doing those thirds, again, it's a confidence thing. So what I'm doing here is I'm going like this, and this is all still minor pentatonic. I haven't added a single note to our pentatonic scale. I'm playing 7 on the D. Then I go to 5 on the G, and then 8 on the B. That middle pickup. Get rid of that buzz. Okay, and like I said, you can break this down. You can make chords out of it if you want, but that's really not the way that I'm seeing this kind of stuff. You know. So the next thing up here is I go like this. Okay, so I'm just following the scale. I'm adjusting my shape to the scale, but to do this, you have to be able to look at more than one string at the same time. That's what I was trying to say earlier. I was long-winded. But I'm going to play 10 on the D, 7 on the G, and then 10 on the B. This is one of my favorite shapes. You guys will see me use this all the time. It's just one I found a long time ago. And I always thought it sounded really musical. Now I shift up, so that was from box 1 to box 2, box 3. Okay, this one I'm going to go 12 on the D, 9 on the G, and 13 on the B. Okay, that's where I left it in the tabs. You could keep going with it. You go up to the next box. It just keeps going. And it's totally like an Eric Johnson kind of thing when I saw him going, you know, in some of his licks. That's where I'm getting a lot of this stuff from. So just have fun with that one, like I said, and get to where you can literally navigate and move through multiple strings, not just one string at a time. Like I don't know, it just changes the way you look at stuff. You know, you're not looking at just a single way of movement on a string. It's all over the place. All right, now the final playing example I have here, I'm going to talk about something here in a second, but actually I want to give my hand a little bit of a break. I can feel it kind of tensing up. Basically is being able to move across the entire fingerboard. Now, like I said, so far everything we've done has been right in line. And this is something I work on with students in my courses and all that stuff. Just kind of moving through. But what I want to do is this. We're going to go, actually let me check real quick, make sure I'm playing in the right direction. So basically it was like this. Now what I'm doing is I'm jumping a lot of boxes. You know, I really have found, like, sometimes it sounds good to play things in order. Sometimes it sounds good to have them all spaced out. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just doing, all pentatonic. I wanted to keep it all pentatonic. But I'm playing 5/7 on the D and the G. You should feel very confident with that. You're comfortable with that. You know, all I'm doing is I'm taking something I already know really, really well, and I'm trying to play it different. I'm expanding on it. So instead of going up to the scale, I go, and instead of even going to the next box, you could do that. Sounds cool. But I went like this. Okay? I went all the way up here to 14 to 12 on the G and 14 to 12 on the D. So I really think the secret to confidence is putting yourself, when you're practicing, in uncomfortable, unconfident situations. So, okay, and then I did another shift, but I didn't want to go all the way back down. I shifted to the same notes, but an octave higher. So I went 17, 19 on the D, 17, 19 on the G. Okay, and then I went back down to 14, 12 on the G and D. So all together, you'd have this. I'm sliding into those notes. You can either pick it or slide. You know, you could even do full pentatonic scales, like big shifts like that. Play box 1. You know, oof, hurt my hand. So try that out. Like I said, I think that those can build a lot of confidence, because hopefully they're things that you're not comfortable with right now, but that's really how you build that confidence. Alright homies, that is it. Hopefully not too much of a boring video. Like I said, I just plan on taking it a little bit easy on my hand this week. Like I said, it's been bothering me, so I want to kind of have some more chill stuff. But next week we'll be back at it with, like I said, I got some new tunes. I've been working super hard. I think this is how it hurt my hand, is I've been working day after day after day after getting the Rock and Roll Boot Camp Part 2 done. So that one will be out hopefully next month. Like I said, I'm just going to take a couple off days with my hand, but there'll be a video on Friday and all that stuff. You can still get the tabs for this one. And other than that, guys, I'll see you all later, homies. Later. Woo!